What's going on, guys? Joey Franza here at Flex Training Systems, and today uh, I am going to be talking about a topic that seems to be going around simply because, as you guys know, there's a big Michael Jordan documentary going around, and I had a conversation recently with my brother, and we were just talking about playing football back in the day, and I wanted to bring to those that have not had any kind of super crazy competitive athletic background, just like this is mainly going to be for the people that are coming into powerlifting that have not done anything competitive to the point where they had to give a lot up, if that makes sense. Um, I'm going to use the word toxic as like a way of you could replace toxic with sacrifice, but essentially, I'm going to be talking about a little bit about a champion's mentality, how it relates to coaching, and just show a perspective, or at least try to show a perspective um, to regular people that have, sort of no interest in, maybe they say that they want to be this thing, they want to be a champion, they want to be the best or whatever, but they may not really want that. So I'm going to kind of go through it, and perhaps by the end of this, you'll have some perspective, and you can really, at the end of the day, it just kind of helps set reasonable expectations for yourself. There's no right or wrong answer. You can get out of powerlifting whatever you want. You don't need to be crazy about it. If you're not crazy about it, you could just give some effort, but then only expect some results. You know what I'm saying? But powerlifting is a little different, and I do think you can work at a level that isn't, um, it's not like 1 million% and still get somewhere. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about being smarter rather than working harder later. But yeah, so here we go. Um, I want to start off by telling you guys that everything that I am, everything that I portray, the way that I coach, the way that I program, everything that I am today it is a combination. It is a sort of fusion of all my past experiences. The way that I was raised, obviously genetically, whatever has been bestowed upon me, the different mentors I've had in my life, um, and I think in my coaching, that is reflected. I grew up playing sports my whole life. Um, I was always a thinker um, when I needed to be, but I did a lot of things that just required you to act on your instincts, and I feel that combining those things really helped me become who I am today as a coach and a lifter to a vastly less extent. Um, but growing up, I played basketball my whole life, and then I got into football. Then I went back to basketball because obviously it's a lot easier to do. Why am I telling you about my life? Because when I was in football, we did things to build character. It's a very old school way of doing it, which is it was probably illegal, honestly. They might see it as abuse now or whatever. Just psychological things and things that both physical. It's pushing you to a physical limit while testing you psychologically to sort of help you get to this point, just to make you tougher, just to be able to handle adversity and overcome. And it literally, I don't regret it happening at all because it allowed me to become who I am today. If I didn't go through that shit, I don't think I would have turned out the way that I turned out. For example, we would be told to run, and we would have no idea when the running is going to stop. So after hours, you're going insane because you don't know when this is going to end. Crazy, crazy stuff like that. We would like sneak practices in when we were told not to and stuff like that. Punishments for like if someone messes up, we get punished together. Um, there's drills that we had that built characters. There's a lot of stuff, right? And my coach was very, he wouldn't congratulate us or he wouldn't. There was no time to celebrate. There was no time to. You couldn't really breathe until you got the job done. Maybe if you were on the right track, he would give you like a slight, like, yeah, that's good, or we're going the right way. But it was never like, we never got complacent. Repetition was key, sort of continuing those things that we did to just kind of keep us, to make us tough. Um, yeah, we just, and then when I played football in college, it was like it was nothing compared to what I went through. I mean, it was still difficult. It was a lot more mental stuff, a lot more film, a lot more, just like I remember getting a playbook that was it was like an inch thick, and that was like very daunting. But yeah, it was a lot of stuff, a lot of different challenges. It's one of the great things about sports, which is why some people, like I said, coming into powerlifting, they probably don't have these. They didn't go through that, which is okay. You're gonna go through your own adversity in powerlifting to a much lesser extent, but it's part of the reason why you see people sort of have like these mental breakdowns, or they kind of just they self-destruct, whenever they have a bad day in the gym, or because they just haven't gone through some shit at a young age. It's very obvious the people that come to me, with a football background, or just that were raised a certain way, or they had to go through hardships, and now that they're a little bit more successful, it's like powerlifting is never really a toxic thing for them. If I to drop some names, obviously you guys know that I worked with John Hack. That guy, like, he could be having a bad day and you'll never know it. He never complained. He always worked hard. I'm working. Obviously, Russ is really, really good with that stuff. Um, and he's very good at doing what he does best, and allowing me to do my job. And when we come together, we just get a lot done. I'm working with, Deuce Gruden. You guys might know him. He's obviously still in football today, involved in the sport. The guy works hard, doesn't complain, very good with feedback. These are just some lifters that they just get it. You know what I mean? Or I mean, I could keep going down the list. I could name like a million people, but there are some that they don't understand the whole, like, maybe they come to me and they hit a PR and they're very happy about it. Um, and I'll say something like, "Oh, that was it's good that you were strong today, but we need to fix this, this, and this." They might take that as like, damn, like he's shitting on my good day or whatever. I think that I would be doing a disservice to my lifter if I was not honest with them. I have to be honest with them. I've had very young lifters in the past, like literally they'll send me a squat PR and I'll be like, I'm glad that you were able to like muscle it up, but like honestly, we got to fix your form, and that was really high. And then they go, "Oh, this guy's talking shit." It's not that at all. It's not that at all. It's like, part of being able to accept coaching is being able to be coachable. You have to understand constructive criticism. And I know that my opinion of someone can be, um, like, it means a lot to them, right? So if I things that I say can mentally affect someone, and as a coach, I will I will wield that responsibility in a way, um, that allows them to be successful, or at least I try. I'm not perfect, but I think I do it for the most part. And I have to be able to handle a lot of different people, like multiple different personalities, coming from all different walks of life. But sometimes, I mean, I do have a way of doing things. And sometimes, like, especially if I've been with the lifter for a really long time, I start to feel, like, yeah, if I've been with someone 3 years, 2 years, a year and a half, then, maybe like I ease up on the fluff, and I'm just like straight up. Um, I will never, like, I'm very lucky in that I've always been able to follow my gut feeling in this sport, and it's always worked out, um, in all aspects. And I think that's a special talent. That's why I've been very open with my programming, um, because it's just like, uh, even if you see how I do it on paper, it doesn't mean you're gonna be able to replicate the same response. Because like you can't give someone, you can try to teach someone good instincts, but it takes a lot of time, and it's something that you build over years. And I think each coach is going to have their own instincts and their own way of doing things, and then you will see those results, like what is working, what's not working, based on what happens on the platform, etc. but yeah, so this idea of not celebrating when the job until the job is done, and then even after the job is done, it's a quick celebration, then right back to it. I know that a lot of very big champion, like very prominent champions, they have this mentality. I will be happy, and I will praise lifters when they're on the right track. Um, but I don't really explode with joy until we put in months or years or whatever, and then we execute on the platform where it counts and we win something. You know what I mean? Or we show a huge improvement, or I'm very proud of the personal journey that the lifter has gone through. You know what I mean? So um, I may hold back on, maybe that lifter on that particular day is extremely happy, and I'm happy too, but I also have to rein them in, and I have to keep them humble, I have to keep them grounded, and I have to tell them if there are things to tell them, yeah, yo, like you need to fix this, or we got to work on this, or whatever. Or maybe there's not a lot of time, there's nothing, I have nothing to say. I'm just as happy as they are, and that's um. So I guess I'm trying to explain the idea of like setting expectations like for yourself, and then understanding that it's important not to celebrate um, I guess you could say mediocrity, or it's important not to celebrate mediocrity from a relative sense, meaning that lifter, if I know they're capable of a lot more, um, then I mean, if we're on the right track, I'll say that, but I'll let them know, like, I know that you have a lot more potential than this. We could definitely do better. Hearing that you could do better after you do something that you feel is already really good, I mean, that might be, I mean, it might be a tough thing to hear depending on the person, But again, it goes hand in hand with being coachable, hand in hand with just sort of understanding that we have big goals. I assume that every lifter that works for me, they have big goals. They want to start at a place and they want to end at a place, and that place that they end up at, um, they want to be able to look back and be like, whether they're world champion or whether they're put 500 pounds in their total and barely top 10, or still top 30, but they improved like 300% on their total or something. You know what I mean? Um, it's relative. Like, goals should be set relative to the person. But I will make sure. I always try to make sure that people, you don't like some people like to be very like everything is positive, 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 positive. Um, and I feel like that can be detrimental. I feel like you need to be real with people. I mean, even in life, in anything, if you're overly positive, but you're not. It's not even positive or negative. It's you can be positive, but you need to be aware of what you can improve, if that makes sense. It's important. I mean, positive energy is very powerful, like keeping a good circle and things like that. But more so, like if somebody squats a big PR, but it was high, and your responsibility is to tell that person, hey, you need to get deeper, and you don't do that, you literally are hurting them by not doing that. If you celebrate like they're celebrating, but you don't rein them back in and tell them, I mean, and you can't be afraid to do that. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. I don't care who the lifter is. If they choose to come to me for guidance, I'm gonna do what I need to do to push them in the right direction to be the best that they can be. Um, I am not as extreme as my coach was. Like in football, it's like you have no choice, right? If you're gonna play sports at that school, that's the coach. That's like you're kind of locked in. There's nothing you can do. There's not really much you can do about it. So the coach could be like way harder or way harsher in terms of sort of the way that they go about things. Me, I am as harsh as they need to be based on the person. I mean, there's people that I'm very soft with because they just respond that way better. But I will always tell them and try to be very, um, like I try to speak their language so that they understand, what I need from them. Um, but at the end of the day, in the back of my mind, it is it is all about bringing them to where I know that they want to go. I just said this in my group page today. I said, when I have the same goal as you, and we're on the same page, we can get a lot done, right? Because we're both on the same wavelength. We're both speaking the same language. Um, and I think some people they just don't know how to deal with. They don't know how to take that constructive criticism. It still comes off as possibly an insult, but I would say that's more so a personal thing. It's more so they have some sort of insecurity, and that is being brought out. Like maybe when they were younger, they didn't take criticism well, and then now they're doing powerlifting, and they have someone sort of telling them like, "Yo, you need to do this. You need to fix this." It's hard for them. It means a lot to me when a lifter can take my criticism. Like if I'm hard on someone and you can take that and improve, I mean, damn, we just got closer without you even knowing about it. You know what I mean? Um, so I'm looking at my notes here, and I have toxic winner. What does that mean? So I want to talk a little bit about that. There are some lifters that I have worked with that are extremely toxic about lifting, but in a positive way, meaning they will make a lot of sacrifices. They have the life means to do so to make lifting a priority. Um, just by willpower alone and the ability to do that, it already puts them ahead of like 90% of people. Just by like they already have all that down. Like they're very meticulous with their food. They train very consistently and they take training very seriously. They're willing to give up more than their opposition, and that's why they're ahead of 90% of their opposition. Granted, in powerlifting, you know, there can be someone that is just genetically astronomically more superior than someone else, and they just win without having to give up nearly as much. I don't see that too often. I mean, there's a couple names I could drop here and there, but I know that they work hard because usually, it's hard. It's hard to say, but maybe down the road when powerlifting gets more popular, and we start getting all these freak athletes coming in from other sports, like how do linemen in the NFL bench 700 pounds and they don't even train powerlifting like that? You know what I mean? It doesn't. It's not normal. Um, and a lot of powerlifters would not like to see that, but at the end of the day, I'm all about whatever is going to push the sport. Anybody could do powerlifting, right? But there are some people, like if you look at the highest levels of sport, they're just built for that. That is like something that they're going to excel at if they give half the effort of someone that gives 100% effort. That's a hard argument, to argue genetics and whatnot, and what I'm trying to get across. So I'm just gonna leave some of that out for the time being. I think I've said what I need to say on it. But basically, there's people that are toxic towards being a champion. They're toxic towards being their best to the point where it may compromise their relationships. But that person in that time, um, they don't care. That's what they want. That's what they want to do with their life. It's their life decision. And like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. Powerlifting could be whatever you want it to be. But you see these people sort of, they're just going to outwork people, and that's going to get them a lot farther than others. Now, powerlifting is a little different than other sports because it's about being smarter, right? Obviously, you need to remain durable. You need to train. You need to be doing enough to progress, but doing the most to progress is not necessarily the thing that's going to keep you the most durable. If you could train a year without any injuries, I'll use Russ as an example. 2018 Worlds, we lost, trained a whole year, didn't get any injuries at all, came back and won. You know what I mean? It's that simple. Can literally be the difference between first and second place at a world championship. Um, but I say the word toxic. I don't know, maybe it's a buzzword, but it's really just like making the sacrifice in order to achieve the greater goal. Maybe you have to track your food when really you want to, eat something dumb, or maybe you want to go out with your friends, but you don't do that because you want to have a good meet. I know John Hack used to stop drinking like many months out. He doesn't drink crazy, but he just wouldn't have any. A couple months leading into a competition, just make sure everything's on point. The little sacrifices, that you make can go a long way. I don't necessarily think in powerlifting at this current state, maybe in the hyper competitive weight classes, but in a lot of weight classes, you're gonna have to work hard, but you're not gonna have to work hard as say someone competing in the highest level, of a sport where an individual can make all the impact. Um, Possibly fighting, possibly boxing, possibly like I can use a boxing example. Anthony Joshua won his last fight. You guys probably don't know who I'm talking about, but basically there are these two fighters. One guy is a freaking Greek god Olympic champion. The other guy is like a fat stubby dude underdog, right? I'm no disrespect to anyone. The fat stubby dude wins. and then they rematch and he loses and he says I didn't work hard, I was partying for 4 months. What in the world? First off, why would you squander an opportunity after literally getting the best shot against, one of the biggest names in the game and actually winning, pulling off an upset? Two, you could have simply changed that your future, changed your outcome by working. Obviously, like mentally, when you take someone in his situation and they go from nothing to like super fame, like millions of dollars and life changing money, they're not gonna know how to handle it, and that's kind of what he was a victim of. Um, but at the other token, if he was crazy about it, if he was psycho about winning, and he just was willing to do whatever he took to stay in shape, not gain a bunch of weight and work hard, I mean, maybe that goes the other way, and now he can create a legacy for himself. So, um, what are you trying to get at, Joey? What I'm trying to get at is you don't want to be in a situation where you didn't put in the work, right? Powerlifting is like a marathon. It's year round. It's not like we got guys hitting PRs in May and nationals is until October. There's no even freaking meets happening. Some of them are starting to happen. I got a guy with the meet in July, I guess. But it's a marathon, right? So you got to be building consistently. You have to be building year round, and it's gonna show. The guys that put in the work in the gym, they're gonna show up meet day, and that's already going to like you're gonna beat a bunch of people just from putting in the work and not getting hurt. And then you're gonna sort of the more meticulous part of it is just sort of handling things on meet day and making sure that you're calling the right numbers and not making any mistakes. Um, and that's how you put everything together and sort of secure a very high placement. Um, but it almost seems easy, right? All you gotta do is work hard. Just work hard year round, and you're gonna beat like most people. Um, I mean, obviously it's day in and day out, one weight at a time, one set at a time, one meal at a time, things like that. And the people, like I always say, if you're taking care of your nutrition, you're sleeping, you're drinking enough water, you're timing your carbs right. If you're dieting, you're being smart about refeeds. Go on a diet break if you have to. Not going ham in the gym to the point where it's tearing down the rest of your week. All these things come together, and they sort of create this perfect picture. And how much you're willing to put in each area is going to show on the platform. The worst thing ever I have written here is regret. You never want to regret. Damn, I could have worked harder. Damn, if I would have done this, then I wouldn't have been in this situation. Um, so really, that's what I'm trying to get across. I'm trying to help you guys understand that some people are really crazy about it. I can think of two lifters right now. One of them, I mean, you tell them to do something, and they just find a way to make it happen if it's gonna make them a better lifter. Some might say that's a little crazy, and then the other one, maybe they don't want to, maybe they're not willing to do that much, maybe they're not willing to put that much into it, maybe it's just a side thing for them. um, it is truly weird because there is no crazy big financial incentive to do powerlifting. I mean, if you're somebody like myself or Russ or anyone in powerlifting that like, I mean, Russ could do anything, but like powerlifting for me, I make a living providing a service to people that want to be better at it, right? Um, you can, Russ can get more eyes on him by being a great athlete. Amanda could do this. Ray Williams, like you can monetize something if you have something that other people want, that they believe in, or that they think has value, right? They'll be more than willing to support you and pay for it. Um, but that's the thing. You can make powerlifting whatever you want. Maybe you don't want to make money powerlifting. Maybe you like your 9 to 5. You just want to do it on the side for fun, and that's perfectly fine. Like I said, there's no right or wrong. But at the very, very top, we might start to see, or we there are people that make it their life. Um, I would like to think that I could bring someone that is capable and has the means to a championship, like I have in the past. And they would say like, yeah, we put in a lot of work, but I didn't hate my life doing it. There are some things even when I'm prepping that are it's stressful. Like I'm very limited in the things I can do physically because I have to maintain my training sessions. I'm willing to, you know, not go on big hikes or not go on big long walks or whatever if I know that I have a big squat day coming up and I'm only supposed to eat a certain amount of food because we're limited by a weight class or something like that. You know what I mean? So, but that's all part of it. At the end of the day, you're gonna look back and be like, sometimes you get in the mood like you want to grind, you want to. I mean, at least I do. Sometimes like I like that feeling of I'm tracking my food and I know exactly how much I'm taking steps and things like that. And I know like when I'm on point, I can pretty much predict what my training day is gonna be. Um, and I can predict meet days within 5 pounds of my max. It's just stuff that skills that you develop over time, and it does take a little bit of toxicity in quotes or sacrifice in order to kind of get there. Um, so yeah, to close this out, there's a couple notes I didn't go over, but I could save it for another time. I'm gonna be doing a lot more stuff on YouTube, so you guys will get this. But last thing I have in my notes is you can be a champ in powerlifting without being ridiculously toxic to the point of Michael Jordan. But there will always be some level of sacrifice that some will not be able to replicate. Um, and it's gonna depend on the person. And as long as you understand, like, yo, I'm willing to dedicate this much to the sport, and these are my expectations, and I'm good with that, then you can be at peace. If you're unwilling to accept that, I mean, maybe this isn't the thing for you. Maybe you didn't want to be that thing that you want it to be as bad as you want it, as you said you did. You know what I mean? Kids hit me up all the time saying that they want to be champ, and then when I lay out what they have to do, they don't have the means to do it. It's not even anything bad on them. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this talk. It was a bit of a longer video. I hope I don't lose some of you guys because of that, because I feel like it was very valuable. But if you made it this far, let me go ahead and get a hashtag champions mentality in the comments below. Don't forget to check the description for things that may interest you. That being said, I hope you guys are able to train soon. I know a lot of gyms are opening up. Please stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.